Hello, I'm Jan Szrewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. The historic pact between Russia and Belarus, a true masterpiece of 21st century geopolitical comedy. Described by Russian state media as a breakthrough agreement reflecting geopolitical challenges, this so-called alliance of equals looks more like a clumsy attempt by Putin to leash his ever-loyal lapdog, Lukashenko, a man so desperate for validation that he would probably agree to sign a pact with a lamppost if it claimed to guarantee his survival. And the cherry on top? The creation of 3 joint military training centers, 2 conveniently placed right on NATO's doorstep. One in Belarus, the other in Russia's Kaliningrad exclave. Yes, that's right. While Putin's propaganda machine whines endlessly about NATO's supposed encirclement of Russia, Moscow is busy building military facilities, practically salivating over the idea of provoking its Western neighbors. And let us not forget the nuclear weapons now stationed in Belarus under what can only be described as a who's really in charge here kind of arrangement. Is it Lukashenko? Is it Putin? Or maybe just some random Russian general? The details remain delightfully vague. What we do know is that this setup makes a mockery of any Russian complaints about NATO barking at its gates. Newsflash, Russia isn't just barking. It's snarling, foaming at the mouth and lunging at defense like a rabid dog. Except when it comes to its recent military exploits, it looks a bit more like a poodle than any serious kind of dog, but I mean that's beside the point. Still snarling. However, according to pseudo-diplomat Sergei Lavrov, Russia has never attacked anyone. Now it is defending itself because it has been attacked by the United States and the Ukrainian Nazis. Does that sound reasonable? Well, it is true, according to Russia.
Мы вообще не хотим ни на кого нападать. Сейчас Соединенные Штаты напали на нас руками украинского режима, ведут против нас войну силами украинских неонацистов, вооружают их, помогают им обстреливать нашу территорию дальнобойными вооружениями, напрямую участвуя в подготовке таких обстрелов. Это не наш выбор. И президент Путин неоднократно говорил, что нам не оставили другого выхода, кроме как начать специальную военную операцию. Они же это очень давно продвигали, превращая Украину в плацдарм для создания угроз Российской Федерации.
Yeah, Russia playing the victim once again. Remember that meme with a guy supposedly drowning and in reality he's just sitting there in a shallow pool? That is Russia in a nutshell. As for Lukashenko, he's probably still basking in the glow of his big boy moment, pretending Belarus is a key player in global security rather than a rented chess piece in Putin's game of imperial nostalgia. If this is what mutual security looks like, perhaps the world should brace itself for more of these geopolitical farces, masquerading as, serious diplomacy. The 31st OSCE Ministerial Council meeting turned into a comedy of errors, starting none other than Russia's Sergei Lavrov as the master of monologues. Now, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski set the tone with a dramatic declaration. I will not listen to Lavrov's lies. It seems the audience, like a seasoned theater crowd, knew when to exit stage left. Delegations from Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia and the Czech Republic followed suit, leaving Lavrov with an ever-thinning crowd. But the piece de résistance, Lavrov himself walking out during Antony Blinken's speech. The irony of Russia's top diplomat refusing to engage in diplomacy was not lost on anyone. Blinken, in his ever-so-diplomatic tone, lamented the lack of reciprocal courtesy. I regret that our colleague Mr. Lavrov left the room and wasn't polite enough to listen to me as we listened to him. Oh, the shade. Lavrov's exit was likely a preemptive maneuver. Why stick around to face facts when you can bask in the comfort of your own alternate reality? This meeting, much like Russia's foreign policy, was all theater, with Lavrov delivering his lines while the world collectively rolled its eyes. Perhaps next time he should stay home and stick to his preferred role, preaching propaganda to a captive audience of Kremlin yes-men. After all, these guys will simply not ever think about exiting the room while a Russian official is speaking. I mean, if you do that, you might get in some serious trouble, and they all know it. Putin's latest commentary on Trump's find another sucker remark about BRICS ditching the dollar is peak Kremlin comedy. Imagine the leader of a faltering economy where the ruble can barely hold its value against a pack of chewing gum, lecturing anyone about global finance of all things. With inflation rising and reserves thinning faster than his inner circle's patience, Putin still insists Russia is a financial powerhouse. Spoiler alert, it's not.
Вновь избранный президент Трамп угрожал, что тем, кто не будет использовать доллар, он будет вводить против них санкции там, и повышенные пошлины. Насколько я понимаю, он так не говорил. Я понимаю, что все, что связано с Соединенными Штатами, вызывает у нас определенную реакцию. Насколько я видел, правда, мне некогда особенно смотреть на то, что там где-то за бугром происходит, но тем не менее на это обратил внимание. Он говорил о том, что если кто-то будет запрещать использование доллара, ограничить его, то он будет соответствующим образом реагировать. Это не одно и то же. Одно дело запрещать использование доллара, а другое дело его не использовать. Понимаете, это разные вещи совершенно. Вот, поэтому вот это второе. Третье. Все-таки вновь избранный президент 4 года не был в том самом Белом доме, о котором вы упомянули. А за это время произошли определенные изменения в экономике, в мировой и в американской экономике. Его преемники, его политические противники очень многое сделали для того, чтобы подорвать фундаментальные основы доллара как мировой резервной валюты.
Russia calling in the background, by the way. I'm quite sure it's a prank call, as always. The irony here is rich. While Trump huffs about sanctions, Putin clings to BRICS like a sinking ship's captain, hoping the lifeboat doesn't notice he's dragging them down. Russia, the self-proclaimed economic rebel, dreams of toppling the dollar, while its citizens scramble to afford bread in rubles worth less than monopoly money. Putin calling for economic independence is like a bankrupt gambler advising on the stock market strategies of the day. It's a fascinating spectacle, if only it wasn't so painfully predictable. Keep dreaming, Vlad. The world isn't lining up to follow your financial genius. What a shame. Now, the glorious Russian war machine strikes again, or rather vanishes into thin air once again. Apparently, a mere 48,000 Russian soldiers who fought in Ukraine are now missing in action, as revealed by none other than Putin's very own niece, Anna Tsivilova, who also happens to be a deputy defense minister. Talk about family pride. Putin's propaganda should award her a medal for accidental honesty.
Родственники ДНК, я уже сказала, мы все берем, они сдают бесплатно, у них принимает это МВД абсолютно бесплатно, за свой счет делает и также в свою базу вносит. Всех родственников, которые к нам обратились. Я уже сказал, 48 тысяч.
Вот здесь вот она какие-то цифры называла, в том числе вот без отсутствующих, я бдительно прошу, этими цифрами нигде не фигурирует. Это такая закрытая информация, достаточно чувствительная. И вот когда будем документы составлять, я думаю, тоже о том, чтобы эти цифры...
Naturally, after this inconvenient truth slipped out, the Kremlin promptly told her to zip it. Nothing disrupts the illusion of victory quite like facts, doesn't it? It's almost poetic. Soldiers sent to Ukraine to liberate it now can't even liberate themselves from the missing persons list. But don't you worry, comrades. The Russian propaganda machine will spin this into something heroic. Perhaps they will claim these missing soldiers as strategically misplaced or voluntarily invisible from Mother Russia. After all, in Putin's world, reality is just an optional inconvenience. Keep cheering for the success, Russia. Those numbers speak louder than your state TV ever could. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.